Every year. Every single year. There's a new JavaScript framework. Every year, my students come to me breathless, excited, saying, "Professor, you gotta check out this new framework, it's going to change everything." And every year, I ask the same question: what problem does it solve that the last framework didn't? And every year, I get the same blank stare. Last month, it was the 5th framework this semester. 5th. I counted. My students are spending more time learning frameworks than they are learning how to program. I'm an IT professor, and I need to talk about the hamster wheel we've put developers on. Because it's spinning out of control. Here's what's happening. We've created a culture in tech where learning is measured by how many frameworks you know. Your resume isn't "I can solve problems." It's "I know React, Vue, Angular, Svelte, Next, Nuxt, Remix, Astro, Quick, Solid, and 3 others you've never heard of." And the framework industrial complex loves this. Because every new framework means new tutorials, new courses, new conferences, new YouTube content, new sponsorships. There's a whole economy built on convincing you that the thing you learned 6 months ago is obsolete. But here's the dirty secret: most of these frameworks solve problems that 95% of developers will never have. You're building a blog? You don't need a framework that scales to millions of concurrent users. You're building a school project? You don't need edge rendering and server components. The complexity is sold as necessity. But it's not. It's marketing. And the worst part? The fundamentals don't change. Variables still work the same way. Functions still work the same way. APIs still work the same way. But we've convinced an entire generation of developers that they need permission slips from frameworks to write code. Let me show you how ridiculous this has gotten. Last semester, I asked a student to build a simple calculator app. You know what they asked me? Which framework should I use? A calculator app. With buttons. And math. And they needed a framework recommendation. I said, just use HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. And they looked at me like I'd asked them to write in hieroglyphics. This is what the framework wheel does. It makes developers incapable of writing code without a framework. It creates learned helplessness. You take away their React, their Tailwind, their Node, and they're standing there, staring at a text editor, not knowing where to start. And I've seen this in interviews. I've had students who've completed entire bootcamps, who've built projects in 5 different frameworks, fail to write a basic function without autocomplete. They can't think without a framework thinking for them. The framework wheel doesn't make developers better. It makes them dependent. And dependency is the opposite of skill. So here's what I want you to do. And this is going to sound radical, but hear me out. Pick one framework. Just one. Master it. Understand it deeply. Not just how to use it, but how it works underneath. What does it actually do when you write code? What's happening under the hood? Then, and this is the important part, learn the fundamentals. Learn vanilla JavaScript so well that you could build anything without a framework. Learn how HTTP actually works. Learn how databases actually store data. Learn how the browser actually renders a page. Because here's the truth that the framework wheel doesn't want you to know: the fundamentals are what make you dangerous. Not dangerous to employers, dangerous to problems. The kind of developer who can look at any framework and understand what it's doing. The kind who can debug anything because they understand the layers underneath. Frameworks are tools. They come and go. But the fundamentals? Those are forever. I'm an IT professor. And I'd rather teach a student who understands loops, conditionals, and data structures than a student who can npm install their way through a project but can't explain how any of it works. Stop chasing frameworks. Start mastering fundamentals. The wheel keeps spinning because you keep running on it. Step off. Subscribe for more rants. And tell me in the comments, how many frameworks have you learned this year? And how many of them do you actually use?